right, so moving on. A lot of big movies came out in 1980. One of them, let's go chronologically here. May 9th, 1980. Friday the 13th came out, the first one. A few interesting things about this. This is following the success of...
opening on the 13th, which is...
Weirdly enough, yeah. Just
Halloween didn't come out on Halloween either.
No, yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Marketing didn't
We're
exist
so much better at that kind
way.
of crap now. Yeah.
but yeah, Halloween had come out, and that had been a huge success, but that was a kind of a weird, like, indie darling, and no one really knew what that was
But it was
coming
a
from.
slasher film, and it was
Exactly.
so popular as a slasher.
Now, because of its success, Friday the 13th was the first major slasher movie to be distributed by a big studio. It was distributed by Paramount. It took a lot of inspiration from the Italian slasher flick Bay of Blood, and it had a 22-year-old Kevin Bacon in it.
That's right.
Yeah. The movie cost $550,000 to make and made almost $40 million.
Yeah.
Which is
that was a
kinda
trend
nuts.
at that time. These indie movies making big bucks. You know, what's really remarkable about this movie is that Friday the 13th movies became monster movies. But Friday the 13th isn't really like a monster movie, really.
doesn't
There's
really
really a
show up until the end.
supernatural
Yeah, I guess we should-
entity.
We can talk about
We can address
what happened.
it. It's been 35 years. I think we can acknowledge the fact that Jason isn't in Friday the 13th.
No.
Not
Yeah,
really. Sort of. Kind of a little
It's
bit.
Mom.
But it's his mom. It's Pamela Voorhees.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, drawing heavily from Psycho. You know,
Yeah.
like that whole
Yeah.
the whole weird Freudian mom thing going
And there's
on.
a mask like Halloween.
Sure.
But
It was
it's
just
kind
like
of
a sack, right? It was kind of like just...
Yeah, the hockey mask didn't show up until
Yeah,
the
it
third
wasn't a
one, I
hockey
think.
mask yet.
And that's kind of incredible to think that kind of spun that direction and became this. It formed into this, iconic thing.
You know, there's actually there is a bit of real life history that could have informed some of that too. In the mid '70s, there was this movie called The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which was based on the Texarkana. I think they were like the Moonlight Murder or something like that. And it was a guy, and he was never caught. This guy going around with basically a sack over his head,
That's what
killing
Texas
people,
Chainsaw Massacre was
killing.
based on too, right?
No, that was based on the same guy
Ed
that
Gein,
That was
right?
Ed
yeah,
Gein,
yeah.
So
this was a guy in the 40s doing this stuff.
Oh, really? A long
yeah,
time
it was
ago.
like late 40s, and they never caught him. And there are a lot of theories about who he was, but the idea of the mass killer going around killing teenagers making out.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's
So-
a little scary to find
A
out
little
that there's
scary.
a real life.
Totally, Zodiac
antecedent,
Killer was
but-
like that too in
Yeah,
San Francisco.
yeah.
There's a transgression in teenagers having sex that like was in all these slasher movies.
Yeah.
That it became kind of like the, oh no, somebody's, even Jaws, right?
it was
Like
also-
somebody's swimming in the ocean and people are making out, they're
Skinny
not going to make
dipping.
it, right? Like that's...
And it's funny because
That's
it's this kind of this orgy of violence and naughty sex stuff, and it was teenagers would go on dates to this. This is
It
go
also
on a
didn't really make you want to go camping.
sure.
Yeah,
No, it was
they-
sort of
it
a
just-
cautionary tale,
you
but you
know.
could also make out during it.
So that, I obviously didn't see it when I was 9 years old, but I saw it later, and that movie took on almost mythical proportions, right? In Germany, first of all, movies are censored, or were, and at the time, it was all about getting that rare, uncensored copy of that movie. And Friday the 13th, everybody wanted to watch this movie.
Wow.
When I saw it, of course, at a party, I was really pissed off because they have a bait and switch in there. There's a scene, the very first, I think the scene in the car where Jason murders the first person by decapitation. It's a male hand. You're as you're watching this movie, yeah, it's somebody manhandling. And I was like, all right, so it's a male killer. And then at the end, you're like, what? Come on.
Yeah.
Pamela's not the most
No,
feminine
it
of
was a male
characters.
hand.
It's okay.
It's not her hand.
I had an interesting viewing of this movie. I wasn't a camp counselor, but I was working at a summer camp. Like I was like a camp counselor in training, right? Young,
Also a serial killer,
And
too.
we went to like the local small town. This is in Michigan. Perfect summer camp. Looks just like the summer camp in this. And we rented this movie and just watched it in like basically a cabin that could be in the movie. There's even like, a dock on the lake. Like I was living in Friday the 13th when this happened. Of course, we had some girl counselors over there too, and it was like the best day ever. But yeah, it was a great
They were
experience.
too busy
Friday the
eating, though. They wanted cookies only.
Well, to me, I came into this. Was exposed to Jason and Friday the 13th when I first heard about him in third grade, and I think Jason Goes to Hell had just come out, And at that point, he's gone to hell and he's established as Jason. So like, this is pretty far removed from what happens in the first movie. And when I finally went back and watched the first one, I think that's probably, a handful of years ago, not too long ago. And it was just, it's very dated. The special effects and the gore are
it's
still
a mess.
fantastic.
It's
but
not
it's
as
just,
fun to watch as something like Halloween anymore.
Halloween's still really
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Halloween
Yeah.
holds up.
I think what's impressive about those is they have, because they're so dated, they almost have this kind of found footage feel to them. Like they feel like they're kind of like this is something that's
Yeah, there is a lot of that kind of grainy look to stuff that just is a byproduct of what they filmed on and stuff. But now, given what we sort of, even the fact that they were made very low budget and then made all this money. I mean, that's basically micro-budget horror filmmaking, which Blumhouse does now. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's back, right?
Yeah,
It's all
I mean,
happening
everything
again,
kind of
yeah.
comes full circle.
yeah. So